Good morning. I am Letitia, and you are here with me to discuss today the North Node in the third house. And you can find me at letitia.com. I'm an astrologer, a numerologist, tarot reader, spiritualist, and yes, you can find me there. So today I'm going to continue the series through the North Node of the Moon through the houses. And so I went through the North Node in the first house, the North Node in the second house. So I'm just going to review really quickly what the North Node of the Moon is. So the North Node of the Moon is a calculated point in the chart that shows what the soul's journey is. What your soul actually came here to do is what we find in the North Node. So the South Node is on the opposite end. So the North Node and the South Node are polar opposites. So the South Node shows what you did in the previous incarnations, what it is that you have mastered in previous incarnations. So the North Node is showing you what it is that you are to master in this lifetime. And it comes with challenges. It comes with lots of hurdles, skin knees, in order to be able to accomplish the North Node. But once we are walking on the path of the North Node, then we start having a sense of fulfillment. So when you have the North Node in your natal chart in the third house, this indicates that you have the South Node sitting in the ninth house in the natal chart. So in your past life, you were a traveler. You were long distance travel was a part of your life and your path, and something that you accomplished very well. You were someone who typically was involved with spiritual studies, religion. You could have been a preacher or a guru, someone who maybe even an evangelist, someone traveling and teaching and preaching to the masses far away from your natal community. And so this was what your soul was called to do before. The ninth house also represents justice. So you could have been a lawyer or a judge, anything along those lines. So now that the North Node is in the third house, your life is called to be a person who is speaking and gathering knowledge, because the third house is traditionally ruled by Gemini, which is ruled by Mercury. And the ninth house is the Sagittarius house, ruled by Jupiter. And so now that we're on the opposite end and we're working with the energy of Mercury and Gemini, then it is the soul's path to gather information, gather knowledge as much as possible about all different topics, and to be the person who knows how to communicate with everyone in your community. So the Gemini energy is able to, because it's mutable, it is able to switch up and be able to be kind of like a chameleon in a sense. And I don't mean that in a negative way, but to be someone who can speak about any topic to anyone, because they have gathered up and soaked up so much knowledge that they are able to share on any topic with most anyone. So with the North Node in the third house, it is your path, your purpose in life to gather information and share it with those in your close-knit circle, to be a person who is sharing knowledge, teaching even within your community that you were born and raised in, and to stay within that community and to share knowledge, to maybe even be someone who does short distance travel to share and be with the siblings. This is a life's path that is focused on um, your siblings and building a relationship with them, and to nurture those relationships, cousins, people who are in your neighborhood, maybe even the elderly, the children who are there, to work in the daycare, to sit with the children, to be a nanny, or to do something more. You could even build schools. Now it depends on the sign, of course, that it's in. So the sign is going to help determine how you are using and what it is that you are teaching, how you're using this energy, what you're teaching, and to whom. So if, let's say, you have the North Node in the third house in the sign of Scorpio. So if you have the North Node in the sign of Scorpio in the third house. So the sign of Scorpio is associated with the deep, dark things. It's associated with surgery. It is associated with occult and hidden knowledge. It is associated with sex. It is associated with the things that we want to keep hidden, like being a mortician or being a someone who deals with dead bodies and the graves and so forth. Also, like I said, occult knowledge, astrology, tarot, witchcraft. The Scorpio energy is about that. So you could have a calling on your life to be a surgeon in the community in which you grew up, because Scorpio is ruled by Mars, and Mars is about cutting knives. So you could be a surgeon that is working in your community. You went off to school, maybe you got your degree to be a surgeon, and you've come back home to where you grew up, and now you operate there in your neighborhood. And then you also teach and work with residents. You teach the residents about how to be a surgeon and how to properly cut the patients. So this is the type of thing that could happen, that you could work with that Scorpio energy. Or you could be a mortician in your neighborhood where you grew up. So these are things that could be a part of that energy if the sign is in Scorpio in the third house. You could also be a part of just short distance travel to go and teach the knowledge that you have if you are an astrologer. And so within your local community, you stayed there, you studied astrology, you become an astrologer in that area. But you get in the car and you travel, 100 miles or 50 miles around to teach what it is that you know about astrology and tarot and so forth. The third house is about marketing as well. So you could be a marketing manager or advertiser in your local community with this energy of the third house. You could even be working on the internet, but doing it from within your community in which you grew up. So this is the type of thing that you could see with the North Node in the third house in the sign of Scorpio. Let's take another sign. So let's take third house North Node in the sign of Libra. So in the sign of Libra, Libra is ruled by Venus, and then Venus in the sign of Libra is all about talking and communicating. So this is a great placement for the third house, because the Gemini and the Libran energy are what's called trine energy. So they have a beautiful aspect, and they are both air signs, so they love to communicate and talk. So, but Venus operating in the sign of Libra is about aesthetic beauty. So with this Libran energy, you could be working in your community as an esthetician. someone who is working with people. You have knowledge to share with people about skincare within the community that you grew up in with your family, things of beauty, fashion. You could be someone who is educated on fashion, and so you create beautiful garments there in your neighborhood, and you have a shop set up, and you are teaching people what looks best with them, with their skin tone, their undertones. You're working with them in that way. Makeup, sharing information about makeup and sharing knowledge about the proper type of makeup to be used for different skin types and undertones and so forth. So this is a way that this Libran energy can show up. Also, Libra is about being a diplomat. It's about bringing people together. So where people are in a lot of confusion and there's disharmony, this Libran energy can come together and make sure that people are feeling at ease and making amends where people have been in disharmony. So that Libran energy in the third house can work within the community where you grew up and be a person who is a mediator, could even be a judge, someone sitting to make sure that legal issues are taken care of properly and there is harmony there. Civil rights issues could be a part of that Libran energy and sharing knowledge in this way. And so these are the ways that this could play out with the North Node in the third house. So I thank you for listening. And if you have any questions, of course, you can always contact me at contact@letitia.com. You can find me on my website as well, letitia.com. And you can book a reading with me if you are interested in doing that. And I thank you for listening and have a great day.